Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the HatsOff Podcast. I'm Amanda Ray, your host, and today we are going to talk about the art of practice. Yep, I said that correctly. Practice. So many people in today's world want to go from learning to perfect, right? I want to learn it in 5 minutes. I want to learn it by watching a YouTube video. I want to read about it, and I want it to be done. And not only do I want it to be done, I want to have the confidence to really excel at it. And that's just not the way it happens. And I know in this like instant gratification world that we live in, and we learn things all the time, and we're learning bite-sized things all the time. But to really become proficient at something, you have to practice. And the sad part is that a lot of people don't want to put in the work of practice. So you hear it a lot in business, you have to put in the work. But what does that mean? When people say you have to put in the work, a part of what that means is you have to practice. If you don't practice, you're never going to get better. If you don't practice, you're not going to know the best way of doing something. If you don't practice, it's not going to become muscle memory, right? So why does the baseball player go out and hit hundreds of balls every day? Right, to create the muscle memory so that when he's under high pressure, high stress situations where his nerves come into play and so many other factors come into play, he can make the hit, right? It's the same thing as a small business owner. You have to practice. We hear this a lot with 17 Hats. I got into workflows, I played with it, I did it once, and I didn't ever do it again. That's giving up. Right? That's stopping. That's letting the overwhelm of doing it stop you. It's letting the fear stop you. It's letting, the frustration, it's letting the first road bump or hurdle stop you. And you can't do that in business at all. People who persevere, or people who succeed in business, persevere. That's like end of line in the discussion, right? So no matter what road bump you hit, you have to figure out how to get across it. And the only way to get across it, I believe, is with practice. Okay. So one of the big things that I love about practice is that practice breeds confidence. Practice breeds confidence. So confidence is half the battle, right? Have you ever met somebody who's just so confident and you're like, whoa, I totally want to be them, right? It's there's this certain aura about them. They give off certain emotions. You don't want to be too confident, right? Because that's just ego, and some people are attracted to that and go with it, and some people aren't. But you do want to be confident, right? Confidence is half the battle in business, and confidence comes from knowing what you're doing. Some people are not naturally confident. Some people are naturally confident as well. But for those of you who are not naturally confident, it's practice. It's repetition, right? And in weights, they say, or working out, putting in the reps, right? It is constant practice that is going to help you build confidence. When you build confidence in yourself, who else are you building confidence in? Your leads and clients. If you're not confident in you, they are not confident in you. And if they are not confident in you, then they are not going to buy from you. They are not going to work with you. So when you look at owning a business and running a business and all of that jazz and finding success in your business, there's no silver key. Okay, I'm never going to come on here and say, if you do this, you're going to get X. It is a lot of little pieces put together. And confidence, I feel like, is one of the bigger pieces to those little pieces, right? So confidence is something you have to work on. And again, I always say what I've said before, right? Confidence can come through practice. So take a few minutes today and rate yourself. How confident are you in the service you're providing, meaning the actual profession? So if you're a photographer, actually taking the photos. If you're a DJ, actually DJing the event. If you're a balloon artist, making the balloon art. If you're a cake artist, making the cake, right? So how confident from 1 to 5? 5 being extremely confident, 3 being average, 2 being below, average, and 1 being, oh, I really have to work on this. Most people that are a service-driven business are a 5 in their profession, 4 or 5, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be going into business, right? If you're not confident in doing the service that you're in business with, right? It's probably not time yet to be in business. You probably need to go put in some more reps and some more practice doing just the service in general. Okay. So there's going to be a certain type of confidence level there. Then the next question is, how confident are you when you talk to leads? How confident are you as you guide clients through the customer experience? How confident are you when there is an issue with your service or your business, meaning a client is asking for a refund or a client wants to go outside of the norms or a client is upset? How confident are you there? How confident are you working your process? How confident are you talking to people about your business? Because a lot of people, while they may be super confident in the service side, the profession side of their business, when it comes to the business side of their business, their confidence really drains, right? And you might be really good working with existing clients, but confidence starts to dwindle when working with new clients. Or if something negative comes up, then your confidence really goes down, right? The goal is to have even amount of confidence for the passion side, which is the service you're offering, and the business side, right? When you get confident in both of those, you're going to see your business start to grow, right? So just rate yourself, right? Think of some situations of confidence and then re-rate yourself every 3 months. Owning a business is not just a job. It's not a check in and check out. It's not a 9 to 5. We all know that. Owning a business is it's a type of life that you have, right? You are the one pushing yourself to be better. You are the one pushing yourself through obstacles. You are the one that has to excite yourself. You are the one who has to rate yourself. You have to give yourself a job performance review, right? And so this just little, how confident am I, just little test rating will help you give yourself your own job performance review as well, which is really important because you have to be growth mindset as well. So what does confidence look like? Confidence looks like speaking clearly, right? As you can tell in this podcast, I like to talk fast. And usually the faster I talk, the more nervous I am, or there's a lot of stressors that are happening outside of these walls in my office, on Slack, different places like that, that is putting pressure on me or stress on me. So I have to know that when I start to talk fast, I have to take a breath and I have to calm down and I have to go the speed that I should go, right? So the speed in which you talk, the clarity in which you talk, removing the ums and the mumbles and all of that, that is going to help build confidence. Eye contact, making eye contact with the person you're talking to, right? My team knows me really well. And when they ask me a question I don't quite know the answer to, I'll be looking over here and I'll be visualizing and I'll be thinking it through in my head and trying to figure it out. And I am not confident in my answers right then and there. So they know that to not take anything I'm saying right there as 100% because I am thinking it through. And that's just normal body language that your clients are going to pick up on. So if they ask you a question and you look off to the side and you're just, giving off an answer, they know there's a little bit of unease there, right? They pick up on that. Okay. So direct eye contact is another way of just showing confidence. Not mumbling, not fumbling, not playing with things. I mean, I'm an anxiety person. So you see me clicking a pencil, you see me with my little stress ball happening right here. But if I'm really going to speak with confidence, if I'm speaking on a stage, right? If I am taking somebody through an experience, I'm being very focused. I'm sitting up straight. I'm putting my best foot forward, which is what we have to do with our clients. And putting that best foot forward comes with confidence. Speaking in solid statements and questions. Okay. Speaking in solid statements and questions. Raise your hand if you're listening in your car right now or wherever you're listening if you don't speak in solid statements or questions, meaning you give like half the information. You'll even see me do this on this podcast, right? Because here I'm so like kind of relaxed. I'm just coming here to have conversations. I don't really have anything scripted out. I have a book that has a bunch of like, this is kind of can you see that? Ooh, this is kind of like what I'm talking about today, right? So I have some stuff kind of just jotted down. But I will quickly start one sentence and go, oh, that doesn't make sense. Let me just change it mid-sentence, right? Because this is a little bit more conversational and I can do that. But really sitting down with your clients and thinking about, okay, what am I going to say? How am I going to move this conversation along? What is it that needs to be said? What is the point that I'm getting to? What do I need from them? And being aware of what you're going to do to move that conversation along and have solid statements and have solid questions versus, let me ask you this question. Oh, but let me ask you this one. But let me ask you this one. And we asked 4 questions when we probably could have just asked 1, right? These are all going to be marks of confidence. The only way you get there is practice. Practice, practice, practice. Practice is a skill. Okay. Practice is a skill, and it should be a skill that you push yourself to learn and you practice the practice skill, right? All the time. So how do you practice? And it's really funny because I was thinking about this and I was like, man, like people should know how to practice, right? Like we've all practiced. And what I quickly discovered is that people don't. I started asking people a while back ago, well, do you record yourself? Do you talk to yourself in the mirror? Like, what do you do? And they're like, I don't do anything. I'm like, okay, let's have a podcast over this. So when we start thinking about practicing, whatever it is that you're going to practice, you got to think about how you learn the best. Do you need to write it down? Say it in the mirror. Record yourself, right? Record yourself on a Zoom. Record yourself, on your like recording device. Record yourself on your phone. Play it back. That's the part people don't do. They record themselves, but they don't play it back. I remember, a long time ago, just working on my pitch for my photography business, and I would just on voice recorder on my phone. Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a photographer. Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a business owner. Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a business owner. I own a photography business. Right? You do it over and over and over again. And you play it back to yourself because you hear it, because that hearing helps stimulate different areas of the brain. But I think what a lot of people do is that they record or they practice the same thing over and over again. So when you practice, especially if you're speaking, practice the most simple thing and the most elaborate thing out there possible, right? Because you're probably going to meet somewhere in the middle. But practice, especially like your speaking stuff. So this is like when somebody calls you, what is your script that you go by? Somebody calls you on the phone, you should have a script. You're probably not going to say that script every time. But that script gives you your opening and it gives you your closing and it gives you your CTA, your call to action. What do you need from them? How do you move this forward? So write out your script. Practice your script. Practice your script by answering your phone, right? Because when somebody calls, you're going to be that much more confident when they call you, which is going to lead to more bookings. Again, a lot of people are like, I need marketing. I need marketing. It's like, you know what? If you would just take care of the leads that you have, and I get it. Some of you are maybe have no leads at all, and you absolutely need marketing. But if you're getting leads, You have to focus on how do you close these? How are you closing 25, 30% of your leads, right? The amount of people that are contacting you, if you're not doing any marketing at all, you should be closing 70 to 80% of those leads. If you are doing marketing, meaning that you're spending money doing marketing, you're going to be closing more 25 to 30% of those leads. Okay. And I'm giving out some rough numbers because depending on the type of marketing you're doing, those are going to change. At the lowest, you should be closing at least 20% of those leads at the lowest. Okay. That should be like a good ideal number if you're doing marketing. If you're not doing marketing, your lead conversion should be much, much, much higher. If you're not closing 75 to 80% of your leads, then we have some bigger issues that we have to deal with. Okay, that's if you're not doing any major marketing. And I don't take social media, posting on social media as major marketing. Okay, I'm talking about spending marketing money. And so focusing on confidence, focusing on speaking clearly and getting to the point and not wasting people's time and pushing them through your experience. So write the script, record, re-listen, adjust, repeat, right? How do you every time you talk to somebody, whether they're a lead, you're asking them for a booking, you're moving them, you're calling them a day before whatever their service is, or maybe you're asking for referrals. How are you going to ask them for referrals? What are you going to say? How is that going to come across? So many people ask for referrals and they say it or testimonials and they say it with like shaky voices because they're scared, right? Because it's hard to kind of put yourself out there. But if you say it and say it and say it again, it's going to get easier. One of the things that I love to do, because I'm in Ubers a lot, is practice on my Uber drivers, right? I always start a conversation with Uber drivers. I think most Uber drivers are very fascinating, especially if you're in the LA area. And, I'm always going to ask them, hey, how are you? Do you like driving for Uber? Like, what's your experience been? And then they're always going to ask me, what do I do? Right. And so I always do a different pitch for 17 Hats. Oh, I own a tech company. What type of tech company? Or, oh, I own a small business tech company. Or, I always say something different because what I'm wanting from them is I want them to be interested. The moment I tell them what I do and they don't ask any other questions, I know I just confused the hell out of them, right? And you can do this with so many people, right? The moment they stop asking questions, you did something wrong. But if you can get them a little bit and string them along and have them come back and ask questions and have them get interested in you, that's exactly how leads get interested in you. So I love to practice in person the storyline, the messaging, the thought process, the keywords before actually putting it online because it really helps me develop that story. And you can do the exact same thing when you meet somebody. If you take Ubers like me a lot, if you are just a chatty person and start up conversations, I'd always start up conversations with people in Starbucks. They'd be sitting next to me. I would tell them hi. They would say hi back. It just very simple. Obviously, don't go starting conversations with people that don't want to have conversations with you. Okay. We don't need anybody punched in Starbucks. But you can just play with it. But practicing your verbiage is going to give you confidence, right? It's going to help you think, how can I clarify? How can I do better? How can I make this more simplistic? How can I not overwhelm with this message? Same thing with 17 Hats, people. I know some of you are scared of workflows. I get it. You are trying to lay out your process and you're trying to understand process. And for some people, process is a black box. But if you just take it very simple and say, okay, what do I do with my lead? What's the first thing I do when a lead contacts me? Write that down. What do I tell them? What do they need to know? What do I need from them? Those are the two questions I like to ask with every workflow step. What do I need to know? And what do they need to know from me? Right? Because that's going to lead you to your CTAs, your call to actions. And the thing is most people go in and start playing with workflows and they expect to get it and it all to like happen and be magic. And it can. Don't get me wrong if you know your process. But if you don't know your process, it's going to take you practicing your process and breaking it down. The other thing with practice is you don't have to practice everything at once. So many people want to practice their whole client experience. Why? You're overwhelming yourself. It's too much for your brain. Think about just your lead experience. Practice your lead experience on the next 4 clients and nail that down. Get it where it converts. Then practice your booking experience. Nail that down. Get that where it converts. Then practice your ask for referrals. Nail that down. Get that to where it converts. But practice one at a time. Right? When you're halfway through maybe one, then start dabbling in the other one. And you're halfway through with the other one, then start dabbling in the other one. But don't try to overwhelm yourself by trying to do everything at once. Like I said, small business is a journey. This is a lifestyle, right? You are constantly growing, constantly challenging yourself, and constantly changing. But in order for you to constantly grow and challenge and change, it comes in by putting in the work, which is practice. So every day you should show up to the office, to your workstation, wherever you work at for your business and go, what can I practice today? Can I practice my phone script? I'm getting leads in. Let me practice leads. Let me practice telling a client no, right? Maybe that's something you're struggling in. Practice it. Practice it in the mirror. Practice it on your voice notes. Record, listen, say it to yourself while you're driving. Practice in your car, right? Practice, practice, practice. Because when you get to the moment that you actually have to do it, now you're going to say it with confidence, which at the end of the day is going to give you a better result. And that's what we're looking for, right? We're not on this business journey to be, to be a charity, right? We want to achieve success. We want results. Okay? So break it down, figure out what you want to practice, get to practicing. I promise you, it is the best thing that you can do for your business. Practice, practice, practice. Get confident in what you're doing. And confidence, it's a magnet. It's going to help bring people to you. I hope everybody has a lovely week. I hope this helped, and we will see you again next week.